let's walk through the process of creating a request in Relay. We're starting on the home page in Relay, and from here we can navigate to the different sections of the sidebar where we can see we have access to two different forensic teams. We have Dev Forensics and Monolith Forensics. I want to submit a request to the Monolith Forensics team. So I'm going to select Submit a Request in the sidebar, and that's going to take me to the new request screen for the Monolith Forensics team. From here we can see as we have the Monolith team's logo at the top, we have the Create Request button, and then we also have instructions at the bottom that the forensic team has provided so that you can learn what their process is for accepting and processing new requests for processing digital evidence. It's very important to read these instructions because this will help you understand what that team's process is, what to expect, how to drop off evidence, receive results. It will inform you on how their process works so that you know what to expect. To get started with a new request, I'm going to click the Create New Request button. This will take us to the request form. And the first section that we're going to see here is something called the request descriptor. And all this is just a short name that helps identify what this request is. You can choose whatever name you like. It can be something related to your case, something that helps you identify what the case is without having to remember a case number that may have, a set of random numbers and letters in it. We also have a helper here, this generate random descriptors. So if you don't have a project name or a case name, you can use this utility here, and this will just provide a randomized name that is trying to be memorable. So some of these names are sort of comical, olive jellyfish, for example. It's just so that we're trying to create memorable project names so that when you see this, you know exactly what it's referring to. For this case, I'm just going to put Relay Training Request. That way, when I see this, I'll know what it is. I'll then click the Next button, which will move us to the next section in the request form. And from here, this is the request details section of the form. So this is where we're going to tell the forensic team about the basic details of our case or our project. Here we have the case reference number. So I'm going to type in just a reference number here. That's if you're law enforcement, this would be probably your case number to your agency. If you're in the private sector or a non-law enforcement agency, this would be some number that's related to your project or case. We'll also select the case type here. These case types are set by the forensics team to their liking, so we'll select what makes the most sense for our request. We can see here we have a priority field. This is actually a custom field that this forensic team has added, so you as the user of this form may actually see multiple additional fields here. But in this form, we just have this one field. I'm going to select a low priority for this. And just FYI, your request form that you interact with may not have a priority field, so that's something to keep in mind. Under description, this is where we want to provide a detailed description of what our case is and what we want the forensic team to know about. This is very, very useful for the forensics team, so please put as much detail here as you want, put as much detail as you can, so the forensic team knows enough about the case to work on the evidence and knows exactly what you want. I'm going to provide a simple description here. Test request for recording a training video. I would highly advise you to write, several, at least 2 or 3 sentences here to provide a description to the forensic team so that they're well informed on what your request is. We'll click Next. And this is where we can attach files. So typically, if you're in law enforcement, this is a good place to attach your search warrant, a copy of your search warrant or search affidavit, or attach any other documents that may be useful to the forensic team. Things like search term lists or chain of custody documents, photos, any other lists or documents that you think would be helpful for the forensic team to access. You just simply click here and it will open up a window to attach a file. I'm going to click Next. The next section here are evidence items. So this is where you can add the various evidence items that you want the forensic team to work on. So the workflow here is you're going to add the evidence items here. This request will let the forensic team know what evidence you're going to bring to them. And then you coordinate with the forensic team on how to get that evidence to them. It could simply be you drive the evidence over and drop it off. Somebody comes pick it up. There could be, shipping carriers involved as well. But the point is, this informs the team that you have evidence that you're going to bring to them for them to work on. So, going to add a new evidence item. I'm going to enter our evidence number here. I'll just say item 1. Under evidence type, I'll select smartphone. And you'll see, as I select this evidence type and change it, you'll see different fields appear and disappear. And this is based on the preferences of the forensic team, where there's certain fields that only apply to certain types of evidence. We'll say this is an Apple iPhone 13. If you have the serial number, pull it from the device and enter it. Or if there's some other unique identifier for the device, you can put it there. Usually this is going to be a serial number or something along those lines. IMEI, this is a special field that this team wants me to fill out, so I can pull this off the device. And IMEI is a specific value that all mobile devices have. And then we have authority here. This is a custom field as well, where the team wants us to identify what authority we have to process this device. I'm going to select search warrant. Under description, I'll say this is a test item for a training video. Again, you want to put some kind of detail here for what this item is and who it belongs to, that sort of thing, so that the team understands what the item is. And I'll click Add Evidence. And so now we have this evidence item that's been added, and then we can continue adding evidence items. So we can add as many as we want, and then we can submit several evidence items in under one request. I'll select Next. This is our context section. So this is where we tell the forensic team about the people involved in the case. So I'm going to say that Homer Simpson is related to this case. Under type, I'll say he is a suspect. Unique identifier, this could be anything, could be an employee identifier, could be date of birth, email, anything that helps uniquely identify this person from anyone else. Here, I'll just put in like an employee ID. And then for email, I'll enter his email just to help. Sometimes if you work in a private sector or this is an internal investigation, it's good to know the user's email. I'll just say at company.com. And then the linked evidence selector here, this is where we can tell Relay like which evidence items this person is associated with. So if the phone that we're turning in is Homer Simpson's device, we can see it here. This item number 1 is right here under our linked evidence. So we can select that, and what that does is it tells the forensic team which item belongs to which person. It's also possible that the person you're entering isn't associated with any of these items, and that's okay too. You can tell the forensic team about that person. But here we're just selecting that we're telling the forensic team we have an iPhone that we want them to process, and that iPhone is connected to Homer Simpson. And we can say in the description, we want to provide some kind of description for this person. We'll say suspect related, we'll say subject related to our investigation. Owner of device being provided. Okay, and we can add this contact, and again, we can add as many contacts as we want. We can connect them to any device that we want. Once we have this completed, we can go to the next section of the form, and this is where we're at the end of the process, where we can now submit this request. And if we want, before we submit it, we can go back through the form and just verify everything that we've entered. We can go back and change things, but the way the form works is if we don't complete each section properly in the form, so for example, if I remove this and it's blank and I try to move along, it's not going to let me. So this is a guided workflow for submitting the request to make sure that you as the user are completing everything that the team needs to be successful with your request. So we'll navigate through the rest of these sections here, get back to the bottom of the request. At this point, we'll submit once we're ready. And once that submits, it's going to take you to the request details for this request. And it's also going to send an email out to the forensics team notifying them of a new request. And at that point, that's when they will likely get in contact with you to start coordinating the drop-off of the evidence items. In the next video, we'll cover managing a request and the request details process so that you can learn a little bit about that. But for this video, this is it. This has been just an introduction to creating requests in Relay, and thank you for joining.